Mitch Miller, Masonic Storyteller, Anarchist Atheist down here. I came back to the same spot I was this morning. I just want to show you that I'm a born location scout for anything left of Hollywood, any type of original film industry that's left. Born location scout, just showing you the bay here. And then I want to show you this kind of shot here. This is where I was sitting. For any future private detectives that want to travel around and investigating people or things or corporations, I just want to show you this shot. I'll take a picture of it because the video doesn't go on the YouTube very well. But if we look at this shot right here where I was, you can see, if you're not familiar with your locality laws, right there is a street sign indicating the casino. And that's obviously a state sign or a federally approved sign, so we know that there's some kind of federally approved gaming society. If you look up above, or commission, if you look up above that roof, you can see the Radisson writing above there. That's where the casino actually is. And look at all the bullshit antennas and stuff up on top of the Radisson there. Just make a note of that. Over here we have another building which I'll get into, but I want to talk a little bit about, I claim to be a Mason, and, I've worked for 17 years, manual labor jobs, and I feel like I can claim to be a Mason. I just want everybody out there to know, especially women and females, that there's a bunch of Masons or guys that hang out at Mason lodges and just hardworking ditch diggers that, just want to work for 30 years, manual labor, maybe move up into a supervisor position, raise some kids, drink some beer in the evening, and they're happy to take orders from a woman or female or whatever. So that's why I'm here, and I'm claiming to be a Mason. But I want to talk about the other Masons, and this is a theory I formed several months ago. Another thing I wanted to say on the national media, but feel like I've been hindered in that situation, and I want to talk about billionaires. They're like this popular people that pop up on our social media and all this stuff, these billionaires. Mostly, I think the United States has the market on billionaires, but they exist in other places. Not really Europe, though. Not true Europe. Maybe the Brits have them, but to my knowledge, not a lot of European billionaires. My theory behind these billionaires is that the military actually has created these billionaires, because if you look at it logistically, it's a lot easier to focus into another area or manipulate economies or things like that for your military if you have billionaire structure there. So that's just a theory I have. I will posit this notion. If for any reason I ever became a billionaire, I would take only the highest pay grade that the military has, the highest paid general in the military of any land that my whatever empire operated in. So for example, if it was Djibouti, I don't think Djiboutian generals make that much money. And even if they did, the Djibouti dollar compared to the American dollar would probably be not very substantial. So that's just an example, but I do want to also continue, since I'm talking about the military, I do want to talk about the FBI as well. So if the FBI wants to continue to cater to these billionaires and millionaires, that's fine. I remember the FBI as being an investigative bureau mostly located domestically. So, back to the gaming industry and the casinos, just a little history about possibly the FBI, and it's very much tied to the mafia, the American mafia, which is mostly an Italian mafia. That's what it's known as. They arose during Prohibition, primarily, bootleggers and stuff like that. They were violent, yeah, they were, but me as a 33-year-old in the year 2016, the way I've seen the mafia is that they went through a lot of periods of turmoil, and in the past 20 to 30 years, they've tried to get out of violent crime, and they've actually got into the gaming industry, casinos. They always were kind of located, well, for the past 40 years located in that. And I think that they are trying to wean away from that. But the FBI might still watch certain aspects of that, I guess. But To my notion earlier this morning about computers predicting X amount of moves out, or guys not even really taking chances or anything. I don't. You're, as far as the mafia goes, or if they're highly invested in the gaming industry, and that's an actual theory put out there. It's kind of detrimental to the casino gambling industry to build all these towers everywhere and have all these wireless waves everywhere. But that's just one aspect I'm putting out there. The other thing FBI usually investigates are like biker gangs, because there's biker gangs in the United States. Are they roughnecks? Yeah. Are they crass, rude, and racist? Yes, they are. So yeah, they probably should be monitored to some degree. But I want to talk about circling back around, and I'm just throwing stuff out there. But as far as I'm concerned with what we consider the mafia in the United States, I think Francis Ford Coppola was a director, and same thing. He's a tax-paying director in Hollywood, and he pays taxes, a legitimate guy, and he opened a vineyard out in California, and I don't see why. I know we can't get the Intelsat satellites to not watch his compound there, or his estate out there in the vineyards of California. But I think if Francis Ford Coppola was hanging out at his vineyard and people started showing up, I mean, I know we can't get the Intelsat satellites off of there because who knows who owns them. But I think probably the FBI should leave the tax-paying Hollywood director alone while he's just hanging out with people. But that's just my opinion. So I come over here showing you my perfect location scouting, and what do we have here? We have 2 ships passing in the night. Nope, sorry. Something else I touched about. I wasn't really looking. There's one ship, and then that could be called a ship, I guess, right? If you captain a vessel, I guess that could be called a ship, kind of. What we have here is our JYSKE bank. So that's keeping our 2 ships passing in the night away from each other. So I think that's interesting. We got another copper clock. And for our motorcycle riders out there, what do we got up there? That's our bell. Everybody knows the legend about the bell, don't you? Interesting location. I think Danske Bank and Spar Nord should probably take note of this situation, and that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I wanted to talk about, but I'll pause it. Sorry, I forgot a little bit for Mr. Coppola, who's ready to retire and get a good night's sleep and not get hassled by a bunch of bull crap. Trying to get that situated for him. I forgot a little history of mafia type American mafia, but we're down here at the wharf, and through the 80s they got a little bit involved with the Teamsters union, as is well known, and that's why the Masons and the Teamsters and different aspects of different labor unions and things like that, they stay separate. Back to my point about everybody wanting to be in every club. So that's why we're in Denmark, and that's why we have great locations like this. And there's a beautiful some kind of etching relief in the top of that, and yeah, so I think I got everything now.